Hello, good day, beautiful people. Welcome back to the V1 channel. I was just so pumped to get going here. I couldn't even wait that last one. We have minute 40 seconds, minute 30 seconds. Loving the beautiful music from Jeremy Harvey Music, as always. Somebody mentioned, I think it was Dougal, saying it's like coming home music. Oh man, hearing that, I just got so excited. Internet seems to be holding pretty good, only at 1% drop frames this morning, which is actually very surprising because we're getting some pretty serious weather conditions here in North Texas. Anybody along that Red River, we got some pretty serious winds going on up here, like 30 miles an hour sustained. So hopefully, if the internet survives, the power will survive, because we are pretty rural out here. But everything is looking good. I was so pumped to get going. I've had about 4 cups of coffee. I am jacked and ready to get this show on the road, guys. Max Rank in the house, Clear Direct, Fubar, Cosmicdoubloon. What's going on, man? Good to see you here. Thanks for taking care of the Discord last night. We did have some troll behaviors in the Discord, so I've go ahead and enacted a secret mod team as well. Got some more mods going on there, so hopefully we keep that in check. I do apologize if you got pinged for some random spam from some children the other night, but that is out of the way. Slam Cannon in the house, Anderson Corsu, what's going on, man? Milltown 24, Swappy, yes, good to see you, brother. Michael Bonga in the house, Mrs. Jungles, fantastic to see you as always. Guys, we are in the FlyByWire mod A320. We are going to be headed from Phoenix to Lost Wages this morning, so let's go ahead and get this thing started. I've done a couple test flights already. really what I was hoping that we were going to be able to see yesterday, but just because of the update for Microsoft, that kind of put that to bed. But neither here nor there. We've got the dev version running strong, so let's get this show on the road. All right, so let's hop into the cockpit. Now I've never really gone through the fly-by-wire mod with you guys on stream, so we're just going to kind of go through a normal, what I would expect startup in, say, the toll list or the flight factor, and we're going to kind of see what's different, what's been fixed, or I shouldn't even say fixed, what's been added from the beautiful team at the Fly-by-Wire project versus we've all seen the default airplane from yesterday's stream or whatever, 2 days ago. So quite a difference. Let's go ahead and come up to the overhead. You can see right away that the IRs are in the off position. That is pretty good. Now bear with me. Where's my overhead? There it is. So looking at the overhead with the Fly-by-Wire mod, much more realistic. All the switches are in the correct position, so this is good. Let's go ahead and get battery switch 1 on. 25.4 volts. Battery switch 2 coming on. Get the chimes there. Different sounds. Much more realistic. Crew supply oxygen is in the off position. We're going to go ahead and, actually before I do that, you can see the screens remain off. You see that? That's pretty good, but the IASS is actually powering up with battery power. There we go, as it should. And connect the ground power. Beautiful power transfer sound. Airplane comes to life. Look at our screens in the self-test position. Now, I don't know if the audio is going to be too loud for you guys. Let me adjust it a little bit lower. There we go. Hopefully the audio is just right. Still trying to tweak my FS2020 audio settings for the stream, but everything seems to be working pretty good there. So our screens come on. That looks good. And right away, let's go ahead and I guess we'll call ground services, since we have to have power to do this. And let's go ahead and request the jetway connection.
Crown NKS112 could you please connect the jetway to the aircraft?
Russell Campbell, what's up, man? He says, hey, man, have you had a blast in the new DCS A10C tank yet? Unfortunately, no, I haven't been in DCS at all in quite some time. Just been taking the time to do other things and stuff for the channel. So I haven't been in DCS in quite some time, but I've been keeping tabs on it. It looks pretty amazing. Milltown 24 brings me back to Phoenix. Just flew out of Phoenix. Nice. All right, man. So nav TCAS fault, that's accurate. That's on. We'll go ahead and clear that out of there. GPS primary lost. You could see a lot of things are popping up as they should that are not included in the default version. So this fly-by-wire team, they have really put the hammer down on getting mods out for this airplane. I mean, it's pretty incredible. Get our brightnesses up there, and we'll go ahead and start the alignment process while we're sitting here chatting. We'll get the alignment on, and we'll stand by on our overhead flow for now. Let's see, jetway is connected. Cool. All right, so since the flight plan, I think, is already loaded, come up here to my flight plan here. Let's go to our initialization. We're going to go cost index 55 today. Flight level is, what did I say? It was 300. I think we're going to go up to 30. IRS and NIT. I like that we actually have a NIT page. Align on ref. Confirm align. Awesome. This is all stuff that is not in the default airplane. So seeing this modded here is pretty awesome. Dimitri, what's going on? He says, let's get it, Captain. Greetings from Vancouver. Greetings, Dimitri. Glad to see you here, man. Thanks again for your DM yesterday with all the links for that good stuff we've been checking out. Pretty sweet, man. Appreciate it. So IRS and NIT is done. Flight plan is already loaded because I loaded it in the menu, so it's kind of interesting how it works, but the flight plan is in there. A NIT B page, I'm pretty sure we just click this and it pops up our weights. Our block fuel on board is 8.0 kilograms. And I know the times don't really work yet. I think this is all stuff that would have to be programmed, but at least we've got proper formatting here for the most part. So our NIT B is done. Can't do our fuel predict page. Perf data is in there. We're going to do a flaps 1. I guess we'll do a flex 55. I want to try a flex takeoff and see, because I know if I go Toga, I seem to over-temp the engines, which is not realistic, and I don't think that's any fault to the fly-by-wire team. It's just the way the airplane is core modeled. Anytime you go Toga, the temps go into the red. So we're going to try a flex temp of 55 this morning. Transition altitude is flight level 180 here in the US of A. Thrust reduction 2621. That's about 1,000 feet over field. That looks good to me. Engine out 1680. That doesn't seem right, does it? Oh well, we'll leave it there at 1680. We're not planning on having any engine failures today. And alright, so that's pretty much all we can really do. We do have RadNav in there, progress page. I don't think we can program the prog page, can we? No, prog page is not programmable yet. But our perf data is set, init has been set, there is no secondary. I have been keeping tabs on the FlyByWire team. They're working on that ATSU AOC ATIS uplink, which will be awesome. So hopefully that'll be coming out at some point. Alright. Flying Guitar says man, Azobo should outright support this project completely, or they should have hired this team to help them make their default AirPods. I totally agree, man. These guys are, and seatbelts can go on, auto, arm those, crew supply on, Fly-by-wire team in-op ground control push button. We could make this
subscriber ahead. Look
It's so not important in flight simulation, but it just bothers me looking at this because that's one of those switches that I'm always kind of just double checking when there's a power transfer. For those that don't know, the ground control push button here on the overhead enables the cockpit voice recorder to record all communications in the cockpit prior to first engine start. So the CVR will start recording after the first engine is started. However, we want to make sure if there was something to go wrong, maybe there was a ground collision or maybe a tug that hits the airplane, they need to pull the tapes for any reason, you want to make sure the crew did everything right. Make sure they run checklists, make sure everybody was paying attention. So it's important that we have the ground control push button on. That just overrides the default CVR logic to turn it on.
Subscriber.
Thank you for subscribe there. Appreciate it. So sometimes, however, when you have a power transfer, for instance, going from APU to GPU power, this will trip off, and you have to come up here and just make sure you program it. So we're going to wait for the flap open message to come on after we prime the APU, so we'll wait for the flap open here. Connor Lewis is happy we're getting an ATSU system. Sat X-Plane 11 doesn't have one. I agree, man. That's one thing that really is missing in X-Plane. But you know what? It does have it. It's just hasn't really been chased after by the developers because the INI A300 does have that system. So there's our flap open. We'll go ahead and start. Let's listen to the APU fire up out here. Does APU have its own fuel pump? It doesn't have its own fuel pump, but it takes wing tank fuel. You don't necessarily need to turn the fuel pumps on to start the APU. You actually don't even need the fuel pumps on to start the engines in the real airplane. They can gravity feed just fine, but the APU will draw fuel from the main wing tank. It's just part of our flow procedure that before we start the APU, typically fueling has already been accomplished. So when fueling is done, that's when we turn on our fuel pumps, because you don't want to try fueling the airplane with the fuel pumps running, right? So fueling is completed, we got our fuel on board, fuel pumps come on. That's probably 10-15 prior to push time. Go ahead and fire up the APU. Unless it's really hot or really cold and I need the APU for environmental control. Not a bad startup sound there. Stream in 1080p, please. I used to stream in HD 1080p, but right now we're just working with internet limitations, so I might dabble with the 1080p thing again. I think the frame drop issue was unrelated to the quality of the stream, so I may revisit that again. I know you guys want to see HD vids. I'm really trying. Because the bandwidth should support 1080p. I got up to, I think, 12 up on a good day, right? But I do get some frame drop, and I think I don't know if that's related or not. Alright, so APU is available. APU bleed can come on. External power can come off. We're still waiting for the alignment there. Align in 1 minute. I guess we can get our ATC clearance.
Ground NKS112 ready to copy IFR clearance to Las Vegas.
NKS112 is cleared to Las Vegas Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 7 left climb and maintain 11,000 feet. Departure frequency is LNE 23.7 squawk 2673.
Oh, we're squawking 2673. We'll read back.
NKS112 cleared to Las Vegas Airport as filed.
Can you run the
runway
APU?
7 left climb.
Excuse me, can you run the APU during fueling?
Feet.
Yes, you can.
Departure on
Look at that alignment there, and then
LNE
the ND spun to the proper heading. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Alright, and let's just get the current ATIS real quick here since we're waiting.
Sky Harbor Airport information,
What
Golf
is the
0000
leader?
Zulu. Wind calm. Visibility, tree. Sky condition, few clouds at 1,000.
Dougal says I know all about poor internet where I live. I hear you, man. We're all coming from 100 or 1,000 up, 1,000 down fiber connection to living out here in the sticks is quite change. Alright, so we've got 29097 is set. They're all linked together except this one. We'll set 29097. And I'm going to go ahead and turn my VOR data on. Constraint mode is on. You saw me turn the flight directors on. We have one FD2. That is modeled now with the fly-by-wire mod. Awesome. Awesome. Somebody said to check the perf speeds here. 17, 23, 27. That looks good. We look good. Alright, so perf speeds are set. And I think we are ready to get out of here. Let's go ahead and get the beacon light on. We'll disconnect the jet bridge and request a pushback.
Ground NKS112 could you please
Trying to
disconnect
time
the
this so we have a
jetway
nice
from the
sunset
aircraft?
arrival into Las Vegas. As you can see, we might be a little bit behind schedule. We might have to tweak the sun a little bit. Alright, there goes the jetway and request pushback.
Ground NKS112 requesting pushback.
NKS1123, pushback request accepted.
Pushback accepted. We're just going to push straight back because trying to turn this pushback truck is quite interesting. And we do need to turn the parking brake off. Which they don't really tell us proper communications here, but that's a flight sim issue, not really a Airbus issue. Brakes released, you are clear to push. I did not know if the A320 had an ATSU. It would be nice if the 320 family had a full AOC like P3D, but I definitely checked 300. Yeah, Connor, so it's in the iPad and the EFB on the A300. You can do destination, arrival. Oh, I'm sorry. You can do departure, destination, weather, and you can actually do it an alternate or a random weather request too. It's pretty cool. The INI A300 is one of my favorite airplanes in X-Plane 11, hands down. Definitely up there, one of my favorites. Jeremy Harvey says, look at the black box in the middle of the PFD. You can accurately squeeze the black out of the box with the flight director now. Yes, you can. You can see. So this is one thing that it's nice to see that it's been changed. So I don't know why, but a lot of Airbuses that have come out, whether it's X-Plane or FS2020, they forget to put this black in the little flight director square. Not really flight director, command bar square. Actually, next attitude indicator is what it's really called. And it's hard to see this little square when you don't have that black contrast in there. Because you got just yellow on that light blue background with the light green flight directors, it can become an issue. So it's a little bit easier to see. I reference that little black square quite a bit when I'm flying. Whether you're parking it on the 10 for climb out, whether you're hand flying an ILS, I think we can make the turn out here. We can go ahead and stop the pushback.
Ground NKS112 requesting the end of pushback.
NKS1123 request to end. Pushback received.
Alright, pushback request is off. We're going to go ahead and fire up engine number 1. We got bleed pressure. Here we go. Light off. It's rolling. Now that is a pretty sight for sure. Starts to spool up. Navy Land sub, what's up? It says, yeah, flying into Las Vegas. Lovely and sunny out here now. Awesome. Yeah, I'm trying to time it so we can kind of have that sunset arrival going into Vegas. We'll see. I might back it up just a few minutes as we get up in cruise. I need to revalidate the V-speeds. Are they not accurate? I will check them here in a second when we get started up. Why does the autopilot panel format seem different? I thought it seemed pretty fine. I'll have to take a look at it. I know you... At least I wasn't able to do 2 autopilot engagement. We'll have to try that on the approach. Let's see. Autopilot panel. Everything looks pretty normal here. This is all correct. Everything looks good. AP1, 2. This is all good. I'll go ahead and put constraint modes on that guy there. Oh, hear that PTU kick over. Let's go ahead and fire up engine 2. Somebody said need to revalidate the V-speeds. Oh, 1. Interesting. That's not really, we don't do that in real life, but we'll work with that. 2025 30, 18,000 feet. Flaps 1, flex 55 is set. Starting at numero 2. Listen to that rumble. You should do custom wing views in the future. Chris, I am working on it, man. I know I'm still learning this camera system. I've been learning this camera system since the closed alpha testing. I know XP1972 or XP72 is releasing a video on creating good wing views, which I'll be looking forward to watching and getting my wing views set up. There comes our N1s. So we're in the CFM LEAP engines, I believe, right? Looks to be stable. I'm pretty sure this is supposed to say avail here at some point. Doesn't look to be working, but I could be wrong on that. I could be wrong with these engines. Not 100% sure with this engine. Flaps to 1. And we can request taxi and get out of here.
Ground NKS112 with hotel ready to taxi IFR.
NKS112 taxi to and hold short of runway 7 left via taxiway Tango 2 Delta Delta 3 Echo Echo 3.
Tango 2 Delta Delta 3 Echo Echo 3. We'll do it.
7 when ready.
Taxi to and hold short runway.
Brakes released. Taxi light on. I have it bound, so does it work? Oh, no, that's bound to. Oh, I guess we'll just use that taxi light there. All right, here we go. Let's get out of here. Ground spoilers armed. That's nice to see at the ECAM. That's not there in the default airplane. Looks like we're gonna need some cockpit lighting here. Ooh, not that much. We'll do integral lights. There we go. Man, I know I'm not streaming at 1080p, but this sim is pretty stunning, man. I saw the reflection off the window there. Holy moly, man. Beautiful. I know she gave me some weird taxi instruction. I'm going to taxi the way that we're always told to taxi out of Phoenix on 7 left when you come off the United Terminal, or the former United Terminal. I think it's all under construction right now. Actually, no, it's done. It should be done. All right, on our taxi out here, let's go ahead and do our flight control check, which we can properly do now. Full up, full down, neutral, full left, full right, neutral, and rudders, full left, full right, extremely sensitive, and neutral. Auto brakes max, takeoff config check. That can come on, that can go to auto. This goes to TARA, and that should have been turned on there. FO did a bad job. Phantom 320 when you fall asleep on me. And cabin call.
Cabin crew seats for takeoff, please.
That sounds like Soul. That sounds like Soul doing the announcement there. Not bad. Not bad, my friend. I think we should have a V1 announcement pack. Record some announcements for this airplane. Como, what's up, man? It says, hi, V1 Sim. Oh, I'm reading the chat and getting off the taxiway here. When a reduced takeoff thrust is selected, the rated and or flex method, may the thrust levers be advanced to achieve full rated thrust at any stage of takeoff? Yes, in case of wind shear. Exactly, and that is exactly what you're supposed to do. In case that you do get some type of wind shear, it depends on what phase of the takeoff roll it happens. But yes, you can always, Toga is always there. If something goes wrong on your takeoff, you're past V1, you're doing a flex takeoff maybe, and something isn't right, Toga is always available if you need it. And you don't have to worry about temps, you don't have to worry about over boosting the engines, you just fire all the thrust levers. It'll take care of it for you. Should we actually get takeoff clearance this time? But I don't want to talk to ATC the whole way, but oh well, we'll get takeoff clearance. do ATC all the way there, but that is pretty freaking sweet looking. XP72, what's up, man? He says, announcement pack would be awesome. I appreciate it, man. Thanks. I did watch your stream last night, man. Pretty good stuff. Good stuff in that old classic 7.3. I noticed you had an issue with your chat freezing. Mine's been doing the same thing. I thought it was just maybe my internet, but if it happened to you, then maybe it's a YouTube bug going around. Because I've had that where my chat just locks. It doesn't update. I think if I do a V1 announcement pack, we need XP72 to do cabin announcements as well. I think XP makes better announcements than I do, even in real life. He makes some fantastic pilot PAs. All those years listening to a bunch of different guys talking. All right, can I get a takeoff clearance? Don't be that guy. Turn
Phoenix
that light
Tower
off while you're stationary.
NKS112 ready to go runway 7 left IFR to Las Vegas.
NKS112 cleared for takeoff runway 7 left.
Look at our lights coming on there. Let's see if they actually come forward. Yep. Awesome. All right, we got our takeoff clearance. We're taking the runway, and then I'm not going to talk to ATC anymore. Because I really just don't want to. Do not acknowledge.
Cleared for takeoff runway 7 left NKS.
Lighting is definitely gorgeous, man. The lighting in this sim is... it's hard. I don't think I've seen anything as pretty, to be honest with you. I can make X-Plane 11 look really good, but something about the lighting in FS2020 that is just unreal. All right, we're going to line them up. I don't think I can pop out any flight controls. I can't. All right, we'll spool them up 50%. Nose forward on the stick. And I don't want to miss my climb detent, so here we go. Or, excuse me. Manflex 55 SRS runway, auto thrust is blue. That is cool. 80 knots, thrust set. Get that side stick neutral by about 100 knots. The V1 will rotate. Nice and smooth on the rotation. I know this plane seems a little extra twitchy, and I know they're working on it. There we go, positive rate, gear up, right into the command bars. That is pretty awesome.
123 contact Phoenix departure on 123.7.
Okay, well, I don't really want to talk to you for the rest of the thing, so I'll acknowledge handoff, and I'm not going to call anybody.
Going to 123.7 NKS112.
Make sure you actually follow your flight director when you take off, too, so you don't be like me looking around. There's our lever climb announcement. I'm going to lower the pitch of the aircraft to the flight directors where they need to be. I'm trying to see how this fly-by-wire handling is panning out. So it seems like it's really wanting me to pitch down there. I'm not going to go that low. I will go thrust climb, auto thrust. I feel like if I were to pitch down that far, you see how it wants me to go all the way down here to like 3 degrees? Okay, we're pretty much done with you. Let's go ahead and just change freaks. Now there's our flap speed, flap 0, I have to takeoff checklist. Let's go autopilot 1. Let's just see how the autopilot handles it. I want to see if it really does pitch it all the way down. It looks like it will. We're going to do an open climb, and I'm going to go all the way up to 3. So, of course, after takeoff, disarm the spoilers. And we are off. It is hard to deny the beauty of this simulator. Yeah, Card, I totally agree. He says it's the lighting in the cockpit, the colors on the dashboard, and reflections with good shadows. It really is. It's something you wouldn't think would make it that much of a difference, but you just can't deny the beauty of this sim. Is this the standard sounds for the 32NX or a sound pack of some sort? This is the standard sounds from the Fly-by-Wire mod. I've done nothing to modify the airplane. I just downloaded the dev branch, and everything you hear is straight out of the box.
Cleared to land
You can pop up PFD with right out and left mouse click. Really? Right out. Which side is right? This is right. Would you look at that? That is awesome. Well, I appreciate you telling me that. That's going to help out. There's 10,000 feet. Let's go ahead and kill our lights here. And we no longer, let's see, wing lights off, everything is off. Oh, I left the APU running. No worries. There's 10,000 feet. Ding the flight attendants. Let them know we're at a 10. So, one thing to note here, the real airplane wouldn't really level. See how we're completely level at 10.5 while we're accelerating? It will reduce its pitch, but it will still climb out at around 1,000 feet a minute, especially at this weight. We're pretty light. We only have 7 tons of fuel on board, moderately loaded cabin. We're nowhere near max weight, so it would probably still keep climbing at about 1,000 feet a minute there. You get fully loaded, heavy airplane, it might level briefly, but it's not just going to straight up go almost altitude hold mode until it accelerates to 320. Just something to take note of. I'm not following the restrictions because I'm in open climb. I'm climbing all the way up to 300. Everything seems to look good though, nice and smooth. Oh, the pop-out doesn't appear on stream. Interesting. I might have to change it to a display capture then on the next stream. But I can't get enough of this of reflections with the sun here. Are you kidding me? Yeah, it must be because I have, so for my stream settings, I have OBS capturing the window executable for Microsoft 2020. If I change it to a display capture, I'm sure you'll see it. So that'll just be something I'll tweak. So this is Scottsdale, Arizona right here. I used to fly corporate jets in and out of here a lot. I used to fly Cessna 172s and Seminoles and stuff out of here. I actually did my flight training, a lot of my flight training at Deer Valley Airport right over here. So you can just barely make it out here in the sunset. You see you got the terminating or runway bars flashing over there. Old Valley Rally. I spent a lot of time in Arizona. Met my wife downtown Scottsdale.
American 1733 exit runway when able.
I mean, look at that. Yeah, so you're right. It opens as a separate window, not in the Microsoft Flight Simulator sim. Yeah, so I can change that. Is this a plain skin? This is part of the Mega Livery Pack. So I downloaded the Mega Livery Pack, and unless I missed it, I couldn't find an American. I know there's an American paint scheme because I've seen people flying it around. Maybe it's just not titled American. So I was going to fly American up to Vegas, but I didn't see it. I just imported a couple. I imported most of the North American Airlines. Carter says, I see the X-Plane devs did put improved lighting as a planned update to X-Plane recently. Wow. Whether it's X-Plane 12 or 11, I don't know. That's good to know. I mean, I'd be really curious to see what they do with their lighting. Because I really think this is... the lighting is what really separates the two sims visually. Because honestly, I know it's nice having all the scenery. There's Deer Valley Airport right there. So... having the ortho everywhere you fly is pretty nice. I'm going to lower flight sim just a little bit here. Just a tad lower it. But my orthos that I have, or Fort Boy or Orbix, are much more detailed. So it's not the scenery that looks better, I think. It's the way everything is presented. The lighting, the shadows, the weather, the clouds, of course. Looks like we got somebody behind us there. That's pretty cool. But I mean, that is just with the sun setting off the side of the airplane. Look how smooth that shadow is, too. Oh, the livery on Google Drive is just called AAL. Thank you, Anderson. I must have just passed it. GNR says, looking forward to a future 350 stream. Oh yeah. Well, if I do a 350 stream, it'll be an X-Plane 11 first. It's not going to be in. I just can't fly those phony G1000s around, man. The G1000s that are just copied and pasted across all the airplanes in FS 2020, they just hurt my soul. It really hurts my soul to fly those. No more oscillations. Yeah, the airplane is flying very smooth. Very smooth. Bombasso says, bad work connection, but I'm here. Good to see you, man. Good to see you in the stream. We make it work. We make it work. So one thing I will note is I'm going to be posting, for every stream that we do, or hopefully every stream, I'm going to try to do Block A, which will be some type of morning stream, whether it's about this time. And if for some reason the internet is not working, I will delay to like a Block B stream, which will be mid-afternoon. So just kind of keep in mind that if I have a stream scheduled for the morning and then it doesn't happen, check back. It'll probably be that same day later in the afternoon. So it's kind of hit or miss with the internet up here. Some days it works good in the morning, some days it doesn't. Some days it works good in the afternoon, some days it doesn't. So I think by getting, improvise, adapt, and overcome all problems, right? So we've got really unreliable internet service up here, but I still want to stream. We're just going to have two block windows, Block A and Block B. If Block A doesn't work, we'll try Block B. If Block B doesn't work, then we'll just reschedule. Not a big deal. Carter says Shadow was one of the other features they listed as planned. Ooh. There is a site with all these options that everyone was able to vote on, others being volumetric clouds and sensors. Oh, I gotcha. You missed a subscribe there. Thank you, Michael Engen, for subscribing. Guys, if you haven't already, if you like this type of content, if you like learning Airbus, there's going to be a lot more of the Airbus and Airbus teaching and instruction coming out. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel, because that's with the internet I have, is sometimes it's hard to hype something up or post something. Sometimes it may just pop out whenever I can get it out. So if you like the type of content, make sure you are subscribed for sure. I'm looking at this traffic down here. That's pretty cool. Where's my mouse? There we go. Flying out there. So in real life, you can't see airplanes, can't see nav lights that well. But I like it in the sim because I don't have to fly with labels on or anything, You don't have to have labels on. But that's cool. It looks like there's arrivals or something going into Phoenix. Let's go ahead and check out, see what's going on. We're through 18,000 feet. We should have set standard a long time ago. Phantom 320 is falling asleep as his pilot monitoring duties. I'm going to leave it in constraint mode. I don't want to show all the airports on the screen. Range changed out. It's pretty smooth. We'll go ahead and turn the seatbelt sign off. And everything is looking good. Let's change. I'm curious, do we have a bleed page or a condition page? We do not. That is in-op. Can I get an in-op emoji in chat, please? Condition page is in-op. Engine page working good. Zero PSI, huh? I don't know why I feel like this looks wrong.
Subscriber ahead. Look
up. Thank you for the subscribe. Appreciate it, man. Look at this. This is something that the Flight Factor 320 still cannot get right. High pressure bleed valves are closed at this power setting. Awesome.
Subscriber
pressurization.
Look up.
In-ops and chat. In-ops and chat. Electric. In-ops and chat. Hydraulics. Fuel page is working though. Look at that. We're actually burning a little off. That's very realistic to see one tank, a couple pounds off.
Subscriber
APU
ahead.
page looks good
up.
to me. Door page is good. Wheel page looks good. Flight control page looks good. Look at that. Pitch trim, 0.6% down. Blockbuster, when will you fly with X-Plane again? Probably the next stream, man. Probably the next stream we'll be back in X-Plane. I want to do something in X-Plane pretty soon. I missed the sim, especially after watching XP72 do a stream last night and his lovely classic 737. It kind of made me miss the old X-Plane 11 platform. So we'll probably be in X-Plane in the next stream. We may actually be in, I don't know if we'll be in the 319 or what, but the 319, pushing out some updates. Tolas has anyway. MVD says this autopilot needs an overhaul, but it can fly restrictions. MVD, awesome. So I don't know if you're aware, but this is the modded autopilot. So far, I haven't had any issues with it. So we'll try to fly the Arrival. We'll see what happens. Hello, can you show the VFR map? Just press V. Yep, I don't need to show the VFR map right now. That's cheating. We used the VFR map on our last stream, though, when we had to fly from LA to San Francisco in heading mode. That was fun. Jail says, I'm glad I have the FS Labs. It's like having a real Airbus in my PC. You are 100% correct, man. FS Labs is fantastic. The 319, 321, and even the 320 and the X-Plane are also pretty darn good. But I would have to say, after seeing some of the little tweaks and features that Togas has put out for the 319, which will eventually come to the 321, but if you're familiar with the IAE engine keep-out zone on the ground to reduce fan flutter, auto-ignition sequence, all those little things have been implemented to the 319, which I'm sure they'll go to the 321 at some point. Looks like we're having an erratic pitch up here. What's happening? Oh, we went into speed alt star mode. Okay. It really wanted to get to 30,000. Let's see what happens here. Let's see what happens. It seemed like it went into outstar. It wanted to capture it. It just shot up for it. Either that or the speed. I think the speed dropped down for our cruise speed. Managed 285. Yeah, so maybe that was part of it too. Wouldn't really see that in real life, but... always handle MVD. Well, there you go. I just saw your chat message. Yeah, the level off really rough. So what happened there, and I can tell you why that happened, and I'll tell you that it doesn't really happen in real life that way, but the reason that this sim just did that is the airplane was climbing out. I'm trying to match my ND brightness here. There we go. Alt cruise. So the reason the sim did that is we were climbing out, I think around 300 knots or something, and we were in just regular open climb mode. When the aircraft got close to 30,000 feet, it went into outstar, or altitude capture mode. And at the same time, which doesn't happen in real life, it went into its cruise speed mode. So we went into outstar, the airplane wanted to pitch up and level. But at the same time that it went into the cruise speed, the speed carrot dropped down to 285 knots, or 283 knots, what are we at? It's at 285. So with the speed down here, the aircraft speed up here, it basically said, oh, I have a bunch of extra energy. I'm going to bleed that off to get to 30,000 feet. Sometimes we use that to our advantage. So let's say we're climbing out at 320 knots, and they say, I need you to expedite your climb through flight level 240. What I'll do is I'll manually scroll the speed down below the current indicated airspeed. That way the aircraft will pitch up higher, going after the selected speed that I am requesting. It uses that as an energy trade-off. Now you have to be careful, because if you get too slow, it could take a long time to rebuild your speed. But that is just a trick that we use in real life. That is why this sim just did that erratic level off. I will say the real airplane doesn't do an erratic level off, but at least in my opinion, I think that's why this flight simulator just did that erratic level off, because too many things happened at once. It was in outstar mode, and then the speed dropped, so it's like, oh, I have all this extra energy. Let me just zoom right up to 30. But that's just my speculation. But that's kind of what happened there. All right, everything else looks good. Everything is happy, happy, happy. Navy Land Sub Gaming. Thank you so much, man, for the $10 bomb. He says, heading off to work. Have a fantastic stream. Thank you so much for that $10 bomb, Navy Land. I really appreciate it. Have a good day at work, man. Hope to catch you again here real soon. Really appreciate it. Let's see. Thank you, Nuts, for taking care of that. Oh boy. MVD says this autopilot always triggers that threshold. Yeah, it was kind of a weird situation there. But no harm, no foul. Seatbelt sign is off. And look at that shot. I don't know where I should look. Ooh, with the sun setting. That's pretty cool right there. Dimitri coming in with a take note emoji. Yes, sir. That's what we try to do here at this channel, man. And it's hard for me to, especially in that last stream, there wasn't really much to teach with a Default 320. But with this fly-by-wire mod, this is actually making this airplane flyable for me. Oh, that's a cool shot, like I did in the turn there. That is something out of a commercial. That looks cool. So having this fly-by-wire mod is really, and this is the most recent one that I've flown. It's definitely drawing me back into the airplane. Lemke says, joined kind of late, sorry. Is the live broadcast at 720, or is it my internet kind of blurry at 1440? It is only at 720 right now. I am doing a couple of these test streams in 720p, and I'm basically taking notes of the performance in the internet. So if I can get a benchmark here with 720p, I'm going to then bump it back up to 1080, and we'll see if my percentage of dropped frames increases or not. If it doesn't increase, then we can stream in 1080. For those of you that are aware, I've gone to a much weaker internet connection than I used to have. I used to stream in HD all the time. I reduced it to 720, but hopefully it can handle 1080. It should, by the book, it can handle 1080. I'm only shooting out almost 2.9 megs upload right now, which I definitely have the speed to go more, but I'm really just trying to keep it as stutter-free as possible. Just like the other day, is this haze realistic? It's real weather right now. I haven't been flying out there. I mean, it doesn't seem too hazy, but I would believe this right now. This looks pretty believable to me. Flying out over the desert, sun setting. It's not unbelievable to me. Like, I don't disbelieve it. A lot of times, you know, you don't get that super clear sky where you can just see miles and miles out. Doesn't happen all the time. In the winter, it happens more, but this type of sunset haze is not unrealistic by any means. I just don't know. Unless you're up there in the sky right now today, I wouldn't really be able to tell you what it looks like now. Definitely juicy. Jeremy Harvey says, what does it mean whenever something has a star next to it in the FMA? That means it is there's a mode reversion, a mode change in progress. So we went from altitude, or we went from climb to altitude star. It means it's going to capture soon. So star is it's going to capture. You'll get a glide slope star, which means it is going to capture the glide slope soon. You'll get a loc star. It means it's going to capture the loc soon. Once it does capture, the star goes away. So it's kind of just to tell you, hey, you are set to capture right now, and the airplane is programmed to capture this next mode, whatever it may be, whether it be altitude, localized, or glide slope. So, depending on your airplane's procedures, or I'm sorry, your airline's procedures, you may not enunciate it. I know we only enunciate technically glide slope star. It's the only time we are technically supposed to say star. That may be wrong. I can't remember. It's been. I need to study. It's that time of year where I would be going back to my recurrent here pretty soon. But Daniel from Lion's Den at $10 bomb. Thank you so much, man. He says Phoenix to Las Vegas, a favorite route. I love this route, man. It's short. It's fun. Good scenery. Good airports. I like this route a lot, man. That's an interesting story. One of the first streams that I ever did. Wow, look at it. We're gonna just have to park this cockpit view over here for a second. This is, that is pretty incredible. So, one of the first streams I ever did on this channel, I want to say it was from Phoenix to Las Vegas. Las Vegas? Wow, to Las Vegas. I think it was the first stream I ever did on this channel. And then the second stream was Las Vegas back to Phoenix in the Toga A320. First stream I ever did, man. I watched a couple of those old ones from a while back. It's pretty cringeworthy. Shout out to all you guys that have been hanging tight with this channel for quite some time now. Turn down that brightness a little bit there on the e-cams. Gosh, that is beautiful. Timothy, how's the mod treating you? So far, it has been flawless, man. It is fantastic. This mod definitely makes this airplane flyable. As you guys saw in the Default 320, essentially in the other stream I did, I hadn't been flying Flight Sim 2020 airliners hardly at all, just because I couldn't bring myself to do it. It was not in the cards for me. But this mod brings joy to this airplane for me in this simulator platform. So extremely grateful for all the guys over at FlyByWire. Guys, they're doing this completely free too. This is just, they are hammering out updates. I mean, every day it's like update, 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 update. So give them a shout. Go check them out. They're in the description. FlyByWire. If you want to try this mod out, it's awesome. They just got an installer out too, which is a huge help. I appreciate the installer. I love it when modders just come out with an installer. I know the Zebo 737, it was just a pain. I mean, you had to go to the link, you had to find which one was current. Then there was a package one. The installer just makes it so much more simple. So that was a really good idea. My game has crashed 3 times each time I was trying to fly a 320NX. Oh no, man. Are you sure you have the most updated version? Is the TOLUS 319 more realistic than the A321 I have today? Smooth flying? Yes. Very small reasons why, and mostly you wouldn't even know why it's more realistic than the 321 unless I really show you or your type rated on the airplane. So there's a couple of key features that have just released for the 319, and I'll name them off the top of my head. One is the IAE engine keep out zone. So on the ground, you want to keep the thrust levers out of a certain thrust range. That's right around that. I don't want to give you wrong numbers, but there's a between 50 and 100%. I think there's a zone like in the 60s somewhere in there. I really should know that number off the top of my head. Apologize. But you don't want to keep the engines in that zone because you can get something that's called a fan flutter phenomenon. I went over this in one of my pilot series videos, I believe, and I actually talked about it in detail. But that is modeled now. So that's modeled. The top of descent, minimum descent altitude will pop up in your window at 250 nautical miles. This is really cool. I pointed this out a long time ago, and it's just cool to see little things that they've taken note of and made fixes. So on your PFD, when you put your minimums for your approach in your flight plan box down here in your McDo, they will pop up at 250 miles from your destination. That is now implemented in the TOLUS 319. It used to pop up, I think, around 100 miles, which that may have been true on some of the older software variants of the airplane, but every modern Airbus that I've flown now, it comes up at 250 miles. Why that is important is because as a flight crew, that prompts us to say, hey, it's not top of descent, it's approach preparation phase. So once we hit that 250 mile mark, that's when you put your magazines away, put your company manuals away, I should say. You kind of slow down that chatter a little bit, and you start prepping for your arrival. You get your ATIS, you look at the weather. Not that you haven't been monitoring it the whole flight, but that 250 mark for us anyway is kind of a crucial, hey, let's start preparing for the approach phase. So that pops up now at the proper time. The auto ignition sequence is now simulated in the 319 for the IA engines. So those reasons alone, and I think there's a couple other little ones, I'm sure they will implement to the 321, but as of right now, they're only on the 319. So that's why it's more important, or not more important, it's more realistic right now. Jeremy Harvey says the sounds of the mod aren't bad at all. I'm impressed. I totally agree, man. The video description says Lost Wages instead of Las Vegas. Brandon, you're absolutely right, man. Lost Wages. It's inside, well, not really inside joke, but anybody seen that? I can't even think of the name of the series now. It came out. It had one series on TBS or something. It was really funny. It was about airline crews, and basically, if you were in the industry of aviation, you really laughed at it. If you weren't, you might have thought some things were funny, but they used to call Las Vegas Lost Wages. What airport is that down there? I should know that off the top of my head. That looks like a familiar one. Wow. Look at this view. Dougal says, hey fellas, how about balancing those views and like numbers? Yeah, I would appreciate it. Let's see, what do we got going on here? We've got 299 viewers as of right now. That would be awesome if you guys can hit that like button for me. It does help this channel out, and I have, getting the content back out there, it really does help me if you guys like the videos, because it helps with the YouTube algorithm. So if you like this content, if you like this channel, do me a favor, help me out, hit that like button. It does get this channel and the videos in the YouTube algorithm. So I really appreciate it. Is 280 cruise speed standard on 320? It will depend on your cost index. 280 is a little bit slow, but it's what's our Mach number, so you'd have to look at the Mach number. And it will depend on your cost index. Pilot Peely, what's going on, man? Good evening. Hope you're doing good. I'm doing just fine, man. Hope you're doing well. Team Vodka says TOLUS did post in the forum they were nearly ready to put out the 321 update to bring it up to 319, including the FMOD sounds. There you go. So yeah, that's the only reason why I say the 319 is more realistic right now, is just because they haven't got to the 321, but I'm sure it will be. And as far as TOLUS versus Flight Factor, the functionality of the McDo in the TOLUS has more functionality now than the Flight Factor does. So for that reason, the TOLUS is now officially V1 certified, put a stamp on it, ahead of the Flight Factor 320 in terms of realism and simulation. MVD says, normally the cost index, the higher you set, faster you fly. Yep, you are right, MVD, that is correct. Alright, we should probably let's go ahead and reset this camera view really quick here. There we go. What are we looking at? We're supposed to cross Caddy at 18.5. We did not do that. I'm going to go ahead and set 10,000. And I'm going to go ahead and set open descent, and then I'm going to do vertical speed 2400 right now. We're going to get down. That's my fault. We got to talking. I kind of missed the... I missed everything there. We are way high. So, let's just go ahead and keep it open. And we're going to set 8,000. And we're going to get the speed brakes out. We're going to test a little bit of flight dynamics here. We're going to go speed lever 50%. So if you're unaware, in the 320, with the autopilot engaged, even if you select full speed brakes, you're only going to get half speed brakes, just where the airplane's denied. So I'm really testing the airplane here. Let's just see what happens. 8,000 feet a minute here, trying to reach 280 knots. That's interesting. So we're also going to manually select speed. We'll keep it right there at... make it 290. No DH set. We do need to set up on that. So let's get the seatbelt sign on. Let's do a little McDo work here. Next phase. All right, Vegas. I'm just gonna set 299 or 7 right now. Oh, it's a QNH. Jeez. 2.5 on the temp. Winds 250 at 6. Anybody have an approach plate in front of you for the MDA? I'm going to put 200 in the DH. Normally, we put a Category 1 ILS in the MDA column. So you're actually going to have a barrel minimum. But because I don't have the approach chart in front of me, I'm just going to put 200 DH, which this could vary upon your operator. But that's just going to be our basic approach there. We're going to be hand flying it in anyway because I want to feel how the airplane flies. So perf data has been set. We are in the descent phase now. We are screaming down. I can't change. Where's my barrel at? What's going on there? Nope. 200 under 6. Wow, we are screaming down pretty good here. So this is... I would say slightly unrealistic in the descent profile here. Normally it would be really it would be at 290 knots right now. We'd probably be doing maybe 4,000 feet a minute. Definitely not 7,500 feet a minute at 280 knots. So it seems to be a little bit more draggy than it should. In fact, let's go ahead and retract the speed brake lever. Here comes our speed. So in real life, with the speed brake lever out, you'd still be at that 280 knot window. I'm just going to go ahead and set 10,000. Held star, so we're in capture mode. Let's see how it handles this radical capture. Speed out start actually looks like it's handling it pretty well. We'll keep the speed at 300 knots. So we need to cross Preno at 8,000 feet. We're at 10,000. That's 2,000 foot difference, so 2 times 3 is 6. So 6 miles to Preno. We'll start down. We're at 22 miles, so we still have a little bit of time before we get down. We have to be 250 below 10, so until then, we'll just keep it at 300 knots. Everything seems to be working pretty good. We're going to go auto brakes low on touchdown. Seatbelts are on. Descent is pretty much completed. And it's kind of nighttime. Should we back the sun up just a tad? Or should we go in at night? Do we go in at night, or do you want me to back the time up just a little bit? I've actually never flown into Vegas at night in the FS2020. It flips to QFA when you push the barrel knob. Push again to go back to QNH. I figured that. Thanks, man. The MDA is 2269 for 26 left. That's what I was looking for. 2269. 2269. Let's see if we can set that in there. 2269 MDA. Can I clear that out? I am not allowed to clear that out. Interesting. So now we have an MDA and a DH. But it says 2269 there, so that looks good. Reset shoe. And we can, did we already activate? I'm going to activate approach phase because we are in selected speed. Here comes Preno. So now less 26 left. Thank you, Dimitri. I appreciate it, man. 3/4 mile. 103/4. Perfect. Thank you, sir. That's what we got. 2269 is set. MDA is set. Auto brakes are low. And we got an auto brake on the ECAM. This is all stuff that is not functional in the default 320. So seeing the amount of work this team has done already is pretty incredible. It's little things like this: the auto brake on the ECAM, the seatbelt sign on the ECAM, being able to use the seatbelt sign. In the default airplane, you can't even use the seatbelt sign. So we're 10 miles from Prino. I'm going to go ahead and reduce speed to 250. I'm going to set 8,000. As soon as we reach 250 knots, I will start an open descent down to 10,000 feet. Now, I've pre-downloaded Vegas in the high tile, but one thing about FS2020 that I don't really like is the draw distance. I can't get it to draw it in sooner than when it decides to draw it in, which is kind of a shame. Like if you had an Orbix Las Vegas, you'd already be seeing it. All right, so here we go. Open descent to 8,000 feet. We'll get our lights on. Let's see them pop out here on the airplane. I love lighting. Look at that. As these come out from the wing fairing here. Max rank going dark. Roger that. Brandon says, would you choose FS Labs, Tolos, or Flight Factor for the 320 if they came to Microsoft Flight Sim? Well, if they all came to Flight Sim, it'd be awesome. But if FS Labs came over, I would choose FS Labs, man. They got a pretty sweet product. It would all depend on which airplane came over and which airplane had the most functionality. I'm not brand loyal to any specific company. I am content loyal. So I want the airplane that has the best functionality, whether it's, I don't care who the developer is. So that's one thing that I always kind of kept an eye on when I started this channel. I was like, I want to keep my reviews honest and look at the content that's out there, how the airplane performs, and just give you my honest opinion. I don't want to be tied down by saying, well, I have to promote something that maybe I don't really love. All right, so there's 8,000 feet at Prino. I'm going to go ahead and set 4,000 for Shan. Now, I'm just curious. If I engage descent mode, so it's in VNAV now. Let's see if it handles. We're also going to approach mode. Can I do AP2? No, I can't. So glide slope is armed. Loc has just captured. That's pretty cool. I should probably turn my LS push button on, huh? Make sure you turn those on. So now I've got IRLE 111.5. Final approach course is 259 degrees. It says we've captured the Loc, or we're in Loc star mode, so it's capturing right now. That's pretty good.
Look up.
Let's go ahead and reduce speed to 180 knots. Vegas is one where you can get high and fast in a heartbeat. So you really got to be on it. Speed is coming back. We're looking good. Here's our localizer. So you can see we're in star mode because it is saying, hey, we are going to capture this very soon. So it should go boxed Loc when it captures. Now, glide slope should get a star here. We'll see what happens. We are in VNAV descent. Well, we're not really descending right now, though. We're at 7,000. Here's VFE next. There's our localizer capture, so that's accurate. VFE next, this equal sign, -1. Let's go flaps 1. Now, we should be getting a glide slope star, like, right meow. There it is. Well, no glide slope star, but it captured the glide slope. So we missed a step there, but we still have speed. Glide slope capture, we're 180 knots. We're VFE -10, flaps 2. We're 180 knots. Las Vegas is in front of us. I want that city to draw in, man. The city hasn't quite drawn in yet. Oh gosh, I just smashed my side stick. There we go. Everything's still engaged. I missed a dono. Uh-oh. Bombuso! 8 minutes ago. I'm sorry, man. Thank you, Dougal, for getting me there. Bombuso super chatted $5. I smashed the like button. How about you? Bombasso. I really appreciate it, man. Thank you. I apologize for missing that dono there. I think when you dono it, maybe it was a seatbelt sign. It gets me every time. I don't know if it's the sim or the stream. So I apologize for missing that. But I really appreciate it, man. Thank you for the $5 bomb. Thank you for subscribing there, Sir Gaming. Alright, so I'm going to configure the airplane early. I want to see what happens here. So I normally say wait till you're 2,000 feet above touchdown, manage the speed, gear down. I'm just doing this for testing purposes. I'm going to go ahead and select Manage Speed. I'm going to select Gear Down. We're going to watch it because the gear sequence is really cool. And the lights come on as when the gear is down and locked. That is really nice to see that. And VFE X -10, let's go flaps 3. And our speed drops back. What's our approach speed? 148 knots. We look to be right at 148, so it is doing everything as it should. VFE X -10, flaps full. We've slowed to our final pretty far out. We're at 11 miles from the runway. You really wouldn't be going this slow. This is what we call dropping the anchor early. Pisses off a lot of guys behind you, and you probably have to go around if you're behind me. So
ahead.
don't really do this in real life, but thank you for the subscribe, man. Appreciate it. But this is, I just wanted to see it all transition. We should get a landing memo once we get down below 2,000 feet, or 2,500 feet. Let's see what happens. Golden State. Can we get an in-up line of merchandise? I am working on some new merch. You guys really love those mugs. I appreciate you picking up those mugs. I will lurk. I think that's a great idea. Maybe we should just have an in-op mug. I don't know. Like, there's t-shirts and stuff, but I don't know. When I look at the merch store, I see what people like and what they don't like, and the mugs seem to be a hit, so I might have to just make a mug lineup. Because who doesn't drink coffee or something when they're flight simming? So, how do you decide if you put MDA or DH? Really quickly, an MDA is basically going to be used the majority of the time. A DH will be used when you are doing some type of... we're almost on landing. A DH would be used when you are authorized to, and you are doing probably a very significantly reduced visibility approach. I'll just put it that way. I've talked about it in depth on some streams. I will probably make a video specifically on what the difference between an MDA is and a DH. An MDA is a minimum descent altitude, a barometric altitude right here. A DH is a decision height, or a height above ground. So even though the MDA is 2269, I should be 200 feet AGL when I reach my MDA. And there we go. Cabin check. Ooh, we should arm the spoilers. Speed brake armed. Cabin check. Look at that, landing all green. This is really nice. And there's Sol with the landing announcement. Excellent. I'm going to disconnect the autopilot the proper way here. I'm going to set my screen up. And I just want to hand fly it because I want to see how the airplane feels as we hand fly. Wow, look at this scenery though. Now that it's loaded in, this looks pretty epic, I'm not going to lie. We're 2 whites, 2 reds. I'm going to follow the glide slope. The flight director bars seem to be taking me above glide slope. So, oh, you know what? It's in climb mode. Let's go ahead and flight director's off. It's not even, something happened there. I wasn't paying attention. So flight director's off. We're hand flying the airplane. 1 dot high, correcting. Would now be about to go around real life because I'm going to be unstable. Let's see if we can get it. We're 1,000 feet, 1,200 feet per minute. 1,000, correcting, sinking 1,200. Really don't want to be descending more than 1,000 feet a minute, below 1,000 feet. But for cinematic purposes, we are. There we go. We're back on it. 140 knots. Airplane is hand flying pretty good. That just looks so... Oh, I need to turn my wing lights on. Extra juiciness. That's what I was missing. Fly-by-wire still doing his thing. We're on the approach. Oh, that is sweet. There's no replay mode, so I got to get my views in now. All right, here comes 2269. We already passed it. Runway in sight landing, so hold on to your butts. There's that weird correction from the left, and now we're sinking dramatically.
100. 60, 50, 40.
There's that wing drop. I have full right aileron right now. Go around.
Retard.
Go around flaps.
Too low, flaps. Too low,
Positive
flaps.
rate, you're up.
Too low, gear. Too low, gear. Too low,
That
gear.
wouldn't be going off in real
Too
life.
low, gear. Too low,
Go around
gear.
sequence. Flaps
Too
up
low,
1 notch.
gear.
Positive rate. Gear
Too
up.
low, gear. Too low, gear. Too low,
Gear
gear.
is up. Why are you screaming at me? So we had that crazy Microsoft Flight Simulator thing going on. We're going to climb to 4,000 feet on a straight out heading. Select speed. 204 is good. Begin to level off here. I wasn't going to try to save that landing. Alright, we're leveling 4,000 feet. We're going to continue straight out. Now, the real missed approach procedure I don't believe is a left turn out, but we're going to do it anyway. Flaps come to 1. Select heading, autopilot 1. And I want to come left now to 150. Flaps 0 after takeoff checklist. Ooh, that was a little soon there. That's right, now we can look around the scenery a little bit more. Thrust lever needs to be in climb mode. I missed that detent there. There we go. Thrust climb. We're in speed mode. Flight director's back on, rebuilding the automation. And let's climb back up to 4,000 feet there. And we're on the go around, so let's go ahead and get our landing lights off. Oh, I gotta do my honeycomb yoke. And we'll go ahead and drop flaps 1 back out there because we're not going to accelerate any forward. We're going to go flaps 1, back around. Back around the pattern we go. Yeah, the pappies look a little weird there. That's no fault to... I don't know whose fault that was. I wasn't really paying attention to flying the airplane. I was too busy looking around, so I can't really say what happened. But the runway is not really modeled properly. It's got a lot more lights on it in real life, but that's not the excuse for the go around. I just had that crazy wing drop. I don't know why that happens. Don't know why that happens. When the spoilers are rearmed, we're flaps 1. We'll go ahead and drop back to 180 again. Descend and maintain 3,000. We'll keep it close in. I'm going to need to get an MCP knob or something, hardware, because it's really hard to select those. Well, you wanted to see a night approach. We're doing a night approach. There's 180 VFE next minus N flaps 2. I don't know why we're diving for 3,000 feet here. Speed alt star. Are you going to pull out of this dive, airplane? Let's see what happens. It's in alt star mode.
1,000.
Alright, well. There's somebody on final. We'll take it out past him and then make our left turn in. We're on base. I probably should have stayed at 4,000 feet here. I forgot Vegas's field elevation's higher than I was anticipating. But we get to see Vegas a little bit more now. There's our default, and that's kind of a cool shot right there. Turning off sec 2 in the overhead, fix that crazy bank angle on final for you. I'd have to try that out, man. No, it was, Mateo says I would F4 rage quit instantly. It was so that left bank, when you saw the airplane roll to the left, I literally, I'm not even kidding you guys, had full right side stick input, and it was not correcting. So I don't know what that was about. I'm gonna do a full manual approach this time with manual thrust and everything, because I don't know if it was something with the autopilot automation. I don't feel like it was super crazy on our last stream, but I'm gonna give it another shot. We'll do it completely auto. I feel like we're hauling tail right now, man. All right, and we're going right into the window. Or right into the mountain there, so let's go ahead and 060, reduce speed to 160 knots. Our reelin's at 3,000. We probably have terrain mode flying on at night. Wow, look at that. So this terrain depiction, I don't know if there is a modern Airbus that has a different type of display, but I've never seen this type of terrain depiction on an Airbus. This is very mappy. I mean, it actually looks pretty good, but this is not what it looks like in the airplanes that I have flown in my experience. There could be some crazy version of an Airbus that actually has this, maybe one of some of the newer ones, but I've not seen it look like this before. We might have to cut this guy off. We'll see. The landing issue seems pretty bad and should have had attention straight away by Azobo. Yeah, I don't know why Azobo hasn't really addressed it. Captain Elise said I sent a bug report to Azobo weeks ago and haven't fixed it. Interesting. Nash says I never go around as a matter of principle. It's an issue with the spoilers. Really, I'm going to turn this terrain off because it's a little too aggressive for me. Reeland's at 3,800 feet. Yeah, we were pretty low on that guy. I should have stayed at 4 all the way around. My initial instinct was correct. Yeah, we're flying around at 1,000 feet AGL, 300 feet. So I think this guy might be landing 2-5 left as well. We're going to try to fit in here right between these two airplanes. We're going to sneak it in here. We're pulling a southwest. Can you actually disable Sec 2 on the overhead? I'm going to take a look. Alright, Sec 2 is disabled. We'll see what happens. Papa Tango! $5 super chat. Thank you, man. He says, what airline did you fly for and where were you based? I still fly in the airlines, man. I'm an active Airbus captain right now. But I don't really just tell people who I fly for. Just as a matter of privacy. Thank you for the super chat, though. I appreciate it, man. Alright, so Glide Slope Star, Lodestar, everything's looking good. Although our Glide Slope should be below us right now. Or at least pretty close to being dead on. We'll see. Overshot the final, no worries. I'm going to hand fly this. Autopilot's coming off. Flight director's coming off. And let's hand fly this approach all the way in. Gear down. Oh, super twitchy there. I wonder if that's because Sec 2 is off. It seems super twitchy now. That doesn't feel right either, though. I'm gonna put Sec 2 back on. There we go. It's much more dampened now. We're just gonna hold 3,000 feet till we see 2 whites, 2 reds. That loss of side stick authority is normal for the plane, unfortunately. Gosh, that is so unfortunate, man. And I'm going to disengage my auto thrust as well. I'm going to manually use my thrust levers here. Full control of the airplane. I wish I could have the bird. Can't give myself the bird right now. Maybe you guys can give me the bird with those emojis. Mateo, thank you so much, man, for the donation. It says, good to have you back, man. Hope you're enjoying the new house. We're loving the new house, dude. Loving the new house. The new internet is a little sketchy, but looks like we're still able to get some streams out. Really appreciate all the support. All you guys have been awesome with your support. I really wouldn't be doing this with you guys and the support that I get from you guys. It's absolutely fantastic. Thanks again, Chewy. Really appreciate it, man. All right, here we go. I'm gonna intentionally bring the airplane on the right side of the runway. So I'm intentionally lining up between the center line and the right edge lights in anticipation for this roll. I would probably be telling the guy to go around right now if he was flying this approach and we're this far lined up. There we go. We get a nice little sink there too, which I'm gonna keep the speed high, see if I can keep control. There we go. We'll let it drift over. There we go. So a little bit of... Wow. We floated past the touchdown zone on that one. Spoilers. Reverse green. Decel. Manual brakes. 70 knots. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Would help to have landing lights on. To Las Vegas. You got a little bonus footage, a little extra go around there. All right, let's clear the runway. There is one runway to cross, so we are... Unless we do have live traffic on.
Subscriber ahead. Look up.
Somebody's taking off, so we are going to hold short of 26 right. At this point, we'll go ahead and kill landing taxi. Down on the disarm that. Flaps up to our after landing checklist here. Get the APU primed up, ready to go. Vegas Crown, Spirit Wings 313. Hold short 26 right. And looks like nobody's coming, so let's go ahead and cross. Lights coming on. Fire up the APU. Flap open. Have the parking brake on. Nope. Come on. Come on, Betsy. That's a pretty cool shot, though, of the strip. I wish they had the beam of light coming out of the pyramid there. This model has real issues on final. Yeah, I agree, Dougal. The final approach phase is a little funky. Might be an understatement of the century, but as far as everything else, it actually did a decent job. Alright, we're going to take the first right here. Landing lights can come off. We do need a high-quality Las Vegas third-party airport, though. I'm really surprised they didn't do Las Vegas as a hand-picked airport or whatever, because pretty popular place. I don't dare try to single-engine taxi on this thing, do I?
Subscriber ahead. Look up.
Do I even have differential thrust? I do have differential thrust. Let's try it. Can I turn the yellow electric bump on? I can. Yellow electric bump is on. Secure engine 2.
Subscriber ahead. Look
Thank you
up.
for the subscribes. Appreciate it. Hope you guys are enjoying the content. I think there's a gate here. I don't see a lead-in line. There it is. I'm going to leave the taxi light on and intentionally blind the ground crew here because I can't see the line. Don't have marshallers. Got my strobes on like a rookie. Alright, now we go ahead and turn that off. Brake set. APU is on. Secure engine 1. No longer need that. Fuel pumps come off. KGB light coming on. APU bleed is on. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here. 5% in 1. Beacon light can come off. Je suis arrivé! There's really nothing to look at outside, is there? Can we connect a bunch of stuff? Let's see.
Las Vegas ground in KS112 could you please connect the jetway to the aircraft?
NKS1123, the jetway is going to be connected.
Alright, they're going to connect the jetway. I still have my wing lights on. Don't need those. Wish there was more to see. There's really not much more to see. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in today on this stream. I hope you guys enjoyed this stream. Huge shout out to the FlyByWire team making this airplane flyable in the sim, because the Default 320 is, in my opinion, not a flyable airplane for someone who desires a study level aircraft, and that's what I desire when I sit down and want to fly sim around with you guys. So this mod is actually changing that with this airplane. So huge shout out to those guys. They are constantly working, constantly making this plane better. It's absolutely fantastic that they're doing that for us, all for free too. So shout out to them. Thank you XP72 for joining the chat. Clear Direct Fubar, Malamede, Papa Tango, Dougal, McTavish, Dimitri, Golden State, Captain Lee, everybody in chat. I really appreciate it. Guys, we'll probably be in X-Plane for the next stream. Until then, I hope you guys stay safe, stay healthy, keep that COVID away from you. Berto360 just got me before I signed off. Viva Las Vegas. Yes, sir. Thank you so much for the $5 bomb. I appreciate it, man. Dougal says smash that like button on the way out. Please do it. It really helps this channel get going again, because I haven't been making a lot of content in between the moves. So by hitting that like button, if you don't want to donate, can't donate, not position support that way, not a problem. I love you guys just as much. Smash that like button for me on the way out. Again, stay safe, stay healthy. Until next time, I'm V1. See ya!
Las Vegas ground in KS112 tree. Could you please send the baggage?